Elon Musk's bid to take over Twitter has deeply divided the internet along predictable party lines. It's America's new battleground. A lot has happened since the deal was announced, and we expect more to happen till it's finalized. But rest assured, the drama surrounding Twitter will continue to unfold publicly on Twitter. In today's video, we'll look into how the Twitter Musk saga is unfolding and how the users are reacting to it. First up, Twitter is broken. Now, it's no secret that Twitter is a toxic sewer pipe. It magnifies and amplifies humanity's absolute worst impulses. That's tribalism, gossip, and mob behavior. There's no better place to find the most unflattering details about people you dislike than Twitter. And this is why it's evolved into a malicious tool, frequently used to disseminate misinformation, both by the anonymous trolls and even journalists at times. As bad as that is, what really seems to annoy the public, though, is its inconsistent and to some extent a very harsh censorship policy. Hate speech was sometimes censored and sometimes it wasn't, mostly depending on where it came from and which group was targeted. Certain toxic individuals were banned from the platform and others were allowed to stay. The problem wasn't that Twitter was trying to implement quality control. That would have been a pretty good thing. The problem was that there was a widespread belief, rightly or wrongly, that Twitter censored political conservatives more regularly than others, and Republicans have also time and again expressed their reservations and accused various social media platforms, particularly Twitter, of censoring their speech. Next, we have how the cultural war is devouring Twitter. Enter Elon Musk, and this is where Twitter turns into a hotbed of cultural and political conflict. A person's position on what otherwise should be a completely non-political issue, such as masks and ivermectin for COVID, has become yet another proxy in our never-ending culture war. In other words, if one knows your thoughts on the Twitter takeover, they can probably guess who you voted for in 2020, and most likely in 2008, 2012, and 2016. This isn't healthy, and it's also quite stupid. Coming back to Elon, he claims to be a libertarian who's suspicious of Twitter's censorship and has repeatedly and very publicly expressed his desire for Twitter to go easy on the ban button and embrace free speech more. Musk has also called himself a free speech absolutist and criticized Twitter's decision to ban former President Trump's account due to an attempted insurrection. To add fuel to the fire, he's even claimed to free Trump once the deal goes through. It's not surprising that his announcement alone has seen a radical shift on the platform in terms of users. Twitter's user base appears to be shifting politically to the right as a result of Elon Musk's acquisition of the company. This is even more visible if you observe the Democrats and Republican follow count. Former President Barack Obama, for example, has lost over 300,000 followers as a result of Musk's purchase, whereas former President Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., gained nearly 90,000 in a single day. Even Katy Perry, who had once campaigned for the Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, lost 200,000 followers. In simple words, a bunch of right-leaning conservatives are joining the platform while a bunch of leftists are quitting. According to Twitter, the fluctuations are most noticeable on high-profile accounts, and they appear to be divided along political and cultural lines. So, can Elon fix Twitter? And while there's been thousands of deactivations and very vocal condemnations of Musk's Twitter acquisition, there's also been a considerably big chunk of users who are quite happy with the development and believe that Elon is the answer to Twitter's free speech and moderation woes. 1 in 4 US conservative males think that Musk will make Twitter great again, while 1 in 10 users believe Twitter moderation is too strict and should loosen up a bit. According to the Forrester survey of 1,556 online adults, more Twitter users in the United States than in the United Kingdom and France believe Elon Musk will improve Twitter, which is 23% of US males versus 11% of US females, and a quarter of conservative US online adults who agree Musk will fix Twitter versus 11% liberals. And now, now for Twitter's Democrat versus Republican war. Many conservatives believe that the Twitter overlords are more focused on moderating a group of individuals who fall under a specific category instead of approaching the issue as a whole, and the majority don't even see moderation as important unless in extreme cases. On the flip side, Democrats have repeatedly argued that social media companies should do more to moderate disinformation, misinformation, hate speech, and violent language. Former President Barack Obama recently addressed these issues directly in a recent speech at Stanford on disinformation. But in the middle of this crisis, there's another new trend that's being observed of late. Unregulated free speech would have been championed by the progressive left and journalists not very long ago, without a doubt. Today, the opposite is true. The right favors more free speech, while the left favors more censorship, particularly on Twitter. Conservatives, for now, are rallying behind Musk, while progressives oppose him, with some even declaring that Musk's takeover constitutes a threat to democracy. Other critics pointed out that this was simply a billionaire throwing a tantrum. But isn't that the nature of a hostile takeover? A rich person or a company believes that they do a better job running a corporation. But given Twitter's current sorry state, it's hard to imagine how much worse Musk will make it. But it's also hard to imagine Musk making Twitter great again. The issue with Twitter is fundamentally a human one. We enjoy confirmation bias so much that we're willing to tell outright lies about people we don't like. Unless Musk has a cure for the human soul, any social media reforms will be at best nothing but a measly band-aid. Next, in other news, Elon Musk's $44 billion Twitter takeover bid unanimously approved. Elon Musk moved one step closer to completing his $44 billion takeover of Twitter this June, when the company's board of directors unanimously approved his takeover bid. Twitter shares were up slightly under 1% in the early morning hours of the day, selling for slightly more than $38 per share, well below Musk's $54.20 per share tender offer. The regulatory filing comes just days after Musk held a virtual all-hands meeting with Twitter employees, signaling that the world's richest man was in fact very serious about carrying out his acquisition plans. The tycoon announced last month that the deal was on hold, pending a review of Twitter's policies regarding bots and spam accounts. Musk had previously also threatened to cancel the contract unless Twitter provided definitive proof that less than 5% of its daily users are spam and bot accounts. And he's apparently still on the fence about these issues. And now, he must resolve 3 issues before Twitter buyout, says Musk. Speaking at a Bloomberg event recently, Musk stated that there are a number of unresolved matters that must be dealt with before he can proceed with the takeover, with the major one being, of course, fake accounts that he's time and time again very publicly shown concern about. Attempts to manipulate social media platforms with fake accounts and bots are nothing new, but Musk says he wants Twitter to be more transparent about how many of its users are genuine, further adding, "We're still waiting for a resolution on that matter," which is very important. According to Musk, the second major obstacle to the Twitter transaction is the amount of debt required to finance it. Musk stated in May that he would pay $33.5 billion in cash for the company. He has also received commitments for $7.1 billion in equity financing from investors such as Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison and the cryptocurrency exchange Binance. He claims that the remainder of the funding will be provided by bank loans, but it is unclear how this will play out. Despite being the world's richest person, Musk's wealth is tied up in Tesla stock, and as collateral for the loans, he has sold and pledged billions of dollars in Tesla shares. The final hurdle is approval from Twitter's shareholders. The deal is expected to be voted on by investors in late July or early August. Will the round's debt portion come together, and will the shareholders then vote in favor favor? And will Twitter solve the fake account issue? Guess we'll have to wait some more and see how things unfold next in the Musk-Twitter saga. Finally, Musk angers Twitter employees. And he's done it again. Elon Musk recently attended a Twitter all-hands meeting where he praised the Chinese social media and mobile payments app WeChat and TikTok as potential examples of his Twitter vision, pointing that the two apps have millions of loyal users. This didn't go down very well with Twitter employees. Two people who spoke on the condition of anonymity said Musk's remarks during the meeting did little to appease employees, who see his arrival as a radical shift in the company's culture. One employee expressed anger at Twitter's board of directors for even engaging with Musk's purchase offer, as well as concerns about the billionaire's demands at his company, Tesla, that employees stop working remotely and come into the office. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Elon's acquisition will make Twitter a better place or worse? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.